which is, but it helps you rate things.
Okay, we are on filmsgonewild.com. My name is John Wildman. I'm the editor-in-chief of Films Gone Wild. And we're going to talk about a film that is screening at Decibel Films New York. Right now we're at the Regal Union Square Cinema. We're going to talk about Damned If You Do. Guys, introduce yourselves.
I'm Evan Metzl, one of the co-directors of Damned If You Do.
I'm Jake Rubin, and I am the other co-director.
Our audience likely has not seen the film yet, so introduce us to the film.
Yeah, it's a horror comedy about selling your soul to the devil and then attending your high school reunion.
Essentially, these three high school friends sell their souls in 1999, get all sorts of power, success for 25 years, but come to their 25th high school reunion, he's going to come collect their souls. So fast forward to the reunion, they're trying to figure out a way out of the contract, and they realize that there's a loophole that's not necessarily their souls go to the demon, just a soul. So they decide to return to their reunion to look to murder their former bullies and offer up their souls to the demon instead.
You know what I loved about the film is it starts off big and ridiculous and outrageous, and it keeps getting bigger and more ridiculous and more outrageous. And which you go, as filmmakers, you go, well, it's like that thing, like, can we go to 11? And you guys like keep going more and more and more. And so I really want to talk, and in fact, I think I described it to you guys personally as like, it's this great, horror comedy with a lot of confetti around it, right? But talk about that. Talk about the challenge of like going, well, if we're going to start here, do we have someplace to go? Or have we already started at high point?
Yeah, I think a lot of that was giving our actors, our department heads, and everyone just permission to go wild, to go a little crazy with it, to make the weird choices. And we talked to, particularly our costume designer, I remember being like, showing us a bunch of things, and like, yeah, that's great. She's like, normally these get shot down right away. And we really trusted our team to be able to start at that 8, 9, 10, and still have room to go to the 11.
I think too, as far as that, like, kind of trying to always one up there. I mean, it's kind of an essential rule of comedy of just escalation. So, like, even when we got our hands on the script and the development work we did, it was always about trying to make that third act as insane as possible. And I always like to think of it's like you're twisting a rubber band or blowing up a balloon, and then for that whole first half of the movie, and then once you let go, it's just chaos.
Let's talk about our cast, because it's a great cast, and a lot of this craziness that we're talking about doesn't come off unless our cast can pull it off, and also unless their chemistry can pull it off. So talk about about that, about the combination of them. Were there happy accidents? Do you guys know any of the cast members? Were they brought in and they just excelled immediately, or talk about that aspect?
Yeah, I mean, that was a bit of a process. I think we really lucked out by having such a good cast, and they all are very experienced actors that came in with their own chops ready to go. I think for us it was really about trying to analyze very quickly early on in the shoot. We had 5 lead actors that were all very funny, but not exactly funny in the same way. So it was like, how do you capitalize on everybody's strengths and keep them in the same room together? I come from a theater background and an acting background myself, so I'm really big on we had one producer who was really like, you guys got to get rehearsal time in for these big scenes, and I was like, I kind of think the most important thing is just these 5 people get in a room and develop a little bit of comfortability with each other. And I think us being kind of trapped in South Jersey while we were filming this helped out a little bit. I got really, it cheered me up when I found out that our cast went on a little like picnic excursion one of the first weekends as like a bonding thing. So I was like, I hope they enjoyed each other's company and made friends. It seemed like they had fun.
Yeah, I mean, Kate Siegel, our #1, she really set the tone on our first table read, doing some improv. That allowed a brilliant improv artist like Harvey, Guillen to go do so many brilliant things like he did. We already had a great script, there was already so much there. They obviously brought it to the next level, and I think also shooting 2 cameras helped a lot. You had a lot of people in the same shots, in the same room, and there's a lot of scenes with a lot of people bouncing off each other, and that energy was contagious, and they just ran with it.
I want you to talk about that, about the choreography of that, because I didn't know you shot 2 cameras, but it makes total fucking sense, having seen the film. Because, again, it's like, obviously when we're shooting and we're doing overs and singles and trying to combine stuff like that, when you have so much nonsense going on, that can be complicated in nature. So talk about how you guys mapped that out.
Yeah, I mean, of course there were times where we shot singles and, for stunts and things, we covered it a different way, but especially for the scenes where we knew we had room for a lot of improv, being able to just shoot cross coverage and let them play, and knowing that we can always use, if one take goes a little crazy and goes off script, we can use both sides of that, was fantastic. But we really tried to talk to our DP and our gaffer and everyone about setting up zones where they could play. Obviously there's pros and cons to shooting 2 cameras. You can't light things as particularly, having to light for 2 sides is difficult, but we really tried to set up, hey, this is the little bubble they get, let them know where they can play, and then let them go free.
I'd say too, like another thing that became key was like, you're running 2 cameras and sometimes you have one shot before the other one. So our camera crew got very adept at the swingle of just like kind of trying to find the additional shot with that second camera when it's rolling, even if it's not necessarily obvious that there's something there. Which I think gave our editor a lot of room to play with, which we owe him a lot of thanks for, sorting through our crazy improv and stuff that we let everybody do on set.
Final question I have for you guys, because I know we've had the world premiere screening, you guys got to see it with an audience, and I know for myself, when I'm in an audience of something that I've done on the comedy front especially, that audience reaction, sometimes, I'll go, oh, that's a me joke, so they're my people. And then there are jokes you go, well, everybody likes that stuff, right? So how are you guys watching, watching with the audience with this one, the debut? How are you guys?
Yeah, that's a great point, John. We've seen it enough times now where we know which jokes are going to really get a bunch of people, but it's the best when you have those small jokes that usually it's just me and Jake laughing at, really small behavioral things from certain actors, and you hear those 2 or 3 people laughing, like, okay, yes, these people get it, they get us as well, and that's really the treat to see who's picking up on different things, and that there are lots of different comedic moments for different people in there.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of hinted at this here, but I tend to like, you sit with that edit for a long time, and it's, the jokey part of it kind of fades away for you as the filmmaker, but I think the behavior is always funny, and like that's the stuff that like the more we watch it, that's the stuff that I laugh at the most still, is those moments where it's just like an actor doing some very small little thing that's just incredibly earnest, and you kind of are able to like insight a little bit more from that, and when those get reactions, that's my favorite thing, because that's like somebody who's really locked in and is with it at that moment.
There are moments for myself, like Paolo, where
Paolo's who we're talking about.
It's very physical.
Well, and also he's a genius in that, of like, I didn't see that coming, okay, but then I guess I'll do this. And you see that thought process, which makes it even more funny.
That's one of the blessings of film over theater stuff, is that you can capture thought. Like, you can capture a person just like staring straight ahead and thinking through something, and that's fun when you can see it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. I was literally just talking about that with one of our writers, Eric Gildy, last night. I live just around the block. He stopped by to pick up one of the filmmaker pads to go see a couple films here last night. And we were talking about how great it is when you can see an actor's thought process. In particular, Paulo is fantastic at that. And I remember, he was great off the bat for so many, but there was a couple times he was like, no, I need one more take. I know what I'm going to do now. We're going to get it on this one. And, that was a great learning process for us as well. It's always a tough balance of going, hey, we got to move on versus when you have it. But you also got to listen to your actors when they say, you know what, no, I didn't get it here. I got a better one here.
I mean, sometimes I describe films as they're either popcorn movies or they're broccoli movies. This one I'd say it's popcorn and candy.
And confetti.
Yeah, and confetti. Again, the film is Damned If You Do, which made its world premiere at Metzl Films New York. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you so much, John. Appreciate it.